Hello and welcome again to White Belt Angular. We're going to take a different direction with this video. Right now we're going to set up a ASP.NET application to handle the communication with the database. I realize that the Angular part of this could conceivably be done in .NET, but from what I've seen, I think it's probably better to leave the Angular stuff Angular and do .NET and .NET. And when I say that, I mean if you set up an Angular .NET project, it doesn't look anything like the project that you would get when you set up an Angular project in Visual Studio Code. So we're going to just go ahead and get started. It'll jump right in. I'm going to create a new project. And this one is going to be an ASP.NET Core MVC application. We're going to call this one October. We're not going to configure it for HTTPS, and we're going to do individual accounts. In the past, you used to have to use HTTPS for individual accounts, but apparently with the new version of .NET Core, you don't need to. So we're going to go ahead and create it. And with that created, the first thing I'm going to do is create a user controller. The controller, and it's going to be MVC controller empty. Oh no, this is going to be an API controller empty. And with my API controller, the first thing I want to do is create a method to get current user. So I'm going to say so we're going to go ahead and run that. First I need to set this one. So startup project. And it compiles here. It takes a little while to load because it's the first time. Okay, you can see here that that works, and we'll check our API. All right, so you can see that we've got our current user. So for our current user, we want to actually return a current user object. So here you can see that I'm not logged in. We'll go ahead and get this set up for a login. I'm going to say register. And with these projects, they have to have the database set up for them. So you'll see that in the next step here. So I have to apply migrations. If you're doing this on your own database, you do this by setting the connection string to point to your database. All right, so when I refresh the page, you'll see that the registration has worked. It does have the ability, I haven't messed with it yet, but it's got the ability to send out an email for account confirmation. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the home, and I'll try the login that I just did. Remember me. And you can see here that the account does log in. So what we want to do, since we're logged in, is return the user account when we check for our current user. So let's just close this real quick. And for our user controller, the first thing I want to do is declare my user identity. User identity, and then I'm going to take that object, that user identity object, and I'm going to put it into an array, into a single object array. And then I'm going to set the value for that single object array for the first item in that array. And then I want to convert that to a data table. So the convert to data table code can come from basically anywhere where you take an object and convert, or take an array of objects and convert it to a data table. So if I got that code from here. So I need to bring that all in, bring in all of the references for it. And once I've got my data table, it needs to be declared. But then I want to turn it into a JSON object. So we're going to find some code where we can do that. Of course not. So here we're going to, this code will convert a data table to a JSON object. So let's just go ahead and copy that one. And you can see here that we need to add the string builder reference. And then we generate our field. So because these are being referenced by their signature, we don't want to have this and this be public. It really needs to be one of them private. So go ahead and run it. And we wait. Even though it's not the first compile, it still takes a long time. And I guess this would be a good opportunity to explain to you how this will be used. So on the Angular side of things, we want to do an API call to get our information from the database. And that API call, the first thing it's going to be doing is it's going to be looking for the user account to figure out if the person visiting the site is currently logged in or if they're just an anonymous visitor. So when we take another look at it, you can see here that we get our user object back. Now, in the next video, we need to cover we're setting up cores, which is cross something. but it basically allows you to reference APIs across domains. But that's all I got for you tonight, and thanks.